I had finished writing all the songs for the album in 2018, and I'd covered every issue that I wanted to cover, but there's one important cause that kept pulling at me: Black Lives Matter. Back in 2018, I initially resisted the idea of writing a song around Black Lives Matter because as a white person, I felt unsuited to write a song about a movement that didn't belong to me. And things felt a little bit different at that time than they do now. So I put the idea away. But this musical refrain kept coming back to me, and I realized Black Lives Matter is not a phrase meant to be said by black folks and heard by white folks. Its power is in it being said by all, heard by all, repeated by all. Our failure to take personal and communal responsibility for each other as human beings is what led us to be in this situation in the first place. I think there are many people who are afraid to use the phrase Black Lives Matter because there is shame in admitting the truth behind it and sadness at the idea that it needs to be said. Our generation didn't create this problem. The root of the racial injustice we face today is the legacy of years of systematic injustice and oppression. We inherited this system, and we have benefited from it. But just because we didn't create the problem doesn't mean we aren't responsible to fix it. It is important that we face and we feel our collective shame, and we should feel angry. Anger at the injustice, anger at the innocent lives lost, anger at a system unwilling to acknowledge its failures. The anger built into this issue is very uncomfortable for many folks. But if you have the luxury of choosing whether or not to be angry, then you must acknowledge that you are living in a system that is not working equally for all people. We should feel the shame, we should feel the anger, but if we only feel these things, we'll become paralyzed by them. This issue demands us to act. We need to move forward. Shame is a window on our past, and we need to turn our eyes toward a vision for the future. Anger is a fire that can drive us to act, but the long and arduous journey toward change can only be fueled by hope. We need to mourn for what was, face what is, and believe in what can be. As a Jewish person, I feel an obligation to speak out against oppression, discrimination, and marginalization. Because of the color of my skin and of many Jews in this country have been largely afforded the privileges of being white. And so I acknowledge that for all we share in common, the Jewish experience in America has been vastly different than it has been for people of color. We may not share a common past, but we have to work together to share in a vision for the future. Perhaps I can't truly understand what it's like to be a person of color living in this country, but I feel that it is my responsibility as a human being to say Black Lives Matter. As it says in the Jewish teachings of Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our ancestors, it is not incumbent upon you to complete the task, but neither are you free to desist from it. This is Black Lives Matter. We have, wait a minute, I want to make sure you can still hear me. I want to introduce who we have in the song. From Brooklyn, we've got Alex Major on the drums. From Philadelphia, we've got Brian Del Toro on electric guitar. From Kuwait, we have Shadi Mahallawy on harmonica. And from Mozambique, we've got Dercio F.S. Gomate on Mbira and Maneto Calmo Tefula on percussion. I'm so excited to share this with you. This is Black Lives Matter.
Black lives matter. I hope they matter to you too. Black lives matter. A cry for action, we've got work to do. Black lives matter. Judge not the color of one's skin. Black lives matter. There dwells a human soul within. country, 'tis of thee I sing. Black lives matter. From every hill let freedom ring. Black lives matter. Black lives matter.